Hey everybody, welcome back to Indie Game Movement, the podcast that talks about the marketing and business of indie games. I'm Andrew Pappas, your host again, and this is episode 107, where we talk about how to use game design and appeal with marketing. Alright, so whenever indie devs are making a game, style and design usually play a huge role from inception to launch. But with so much focus on appeal, oftentimes indie devs forget how they can leverage this key element with their marketing efforts. So, our guest today does a really good job at keeping this concept in mind and also shares how essential a game style is to marketing and what things to consider when dealing with very diverse style types. So let's just get into it, and we're going to learn a lot more about this right here on Indie Game Movement. Hey everybody, and thanks again for joining us today. And we have Tanya X Short of Kitfox Games with us. Tanya, thanks for joining.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so Tanya is the co-founder of Kitfox Games, which is a studio that has an amazing team and which has also published several games already. Now, some of the titles people may recognize are Shattered Planet, Moon Hunters, Six Ages, Ride Like the Wind, The Shrouded Isle, and currently in development, Boyfriend Dungeon, which is wrapping up their Kickstarter as we speak. And and by the time this podcast airs, their campaign, it's actually already there. It has already hit over 300% of their goal, which I think is amazing. So congrats on that.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. But I mean, on top of that, and I think their Kickstarter campaign is clearly a statement to this too. Tanya and Kitfox's mission is to focus on their fans by making engaging games, committed to quality, dedicated to learning, and above all, being humble and respectful. So I know that I covered a little about you and Kitfox, but is there anything else you'd like to share about yourself outside of work?
Sure. I mean, something that might not be obvious to people who kind of just tune into Boyfriend Dungeon. You know, we look like a ragtag group of new indies that you might not have heard of before. But I've actually been in and around the game industry for over 15 years now. So
nice.
A lot of the, like almost every overnight success, it's been a long time coming from my perspective.
Yeah, and that's, I think, that point can never get old in making, because so many people look at the end result or the overnight successors, and no, there's no such thing. So it's always good to reiterate that. I think it's great.
Yeah, my background is as a game designer, but I've done a lot of different jobs. I've been a production intern. I've been an AI designer. I've been a community manager. And then most recently, my adventures with Kitfox have taught me more about business development and things like that. But I hope I'll get to keep making different cool games.
Nice. And outside of that, because I know work is probably a big, huge part of your passion and life and everything, but what else do you do for fun or anything to relax or just enjoy things?
Oh, I do so many different things. I love cats, and I love cooking, and I love travel. Nice. I love going to different countries. I've lived in a few different countries, actually. And I write short fiction on the side for fun,
nice.
Short stories, and sometimes publish them in magazines. And I used to do a lot of figure drawing, but not so much anymore.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
And I love doing game jams too, although I guess that's still sort of work, but not really.
Yeah, totally. It's hard to I think for a lot of people, it's just difficult to find, where that difference lies, because there's so much that's blending in with, passion, enjoyment, and stuff. So, I
mean, honestly, even just watching movies, I've been trying to watch more and more old influential films that I might not have heard of before, and
anything
it's really
particular?
Blurry.
Off the top of your
for
head?
example, just last night I watched a French film called Le Samouraï.
Oh, okay.
And that's a really dumb title, in my opinion. Sorry, old French director. But it's a really interesting 60s movie about like spy versus spy kind of thing. Like it's a cat and mouse of a hired killer that's trying to escape the cops and the people who hired him. And it's very exciting. But like my point was that watching these old movies, like especially the ones that are really well made and the ones that have a lot of influence over modern culture, it's really blurry how much that's helping me as a game designer or how much it's just for fun, because I feel like I'm a whole